So when your heart told you to accept the faith, were there still just those 3 Baha'is in Whangarei? Were there more?
That's all. I think that's all. Oh, no. By that time, I think some others had come, and they had an assembly. They just had 9 people. They had an assembly. By that time, yes. About 1967, I think they got their assembly.
And you said it was early 70s when you declared.
Beginning of 1970, yes.
And you already mentioned that Basil's reaction seemed to be encouraging at the time?
Yes, I think it was, yes.
How old was the rest of your family at that time, your sons?
You were about 11, I think.
And Justin would have been 13, Derek 15.
Vaughan 17.
Vaughan 17.
Yes.
You mentioned that Basil didn't realise quite how absorbing the faith would be in your life.
No.
Can you describe that a bit more?
Not really. I think he began to be a little bit sort of jealous of the faith.
Jealous?
Well, I'm just saying it was jealousy. I don't know.
And why would he be jealous?
Well, because it was so absorbed, so all-encompassing.
Yes, I mean, obviously it took a lot of your time and energy and going to meetings. Yeah, I do remember those times when you would be going off to a meeting and Basil would be sitting in his chair making some comment such as, "Oh, another meeting." Yes, so I suppose he felt a bit left out, in a way.
Probably.
In that way, jealous. Certainly. And after many, many years of you being a Baha'i, towards the end of Basil's life, what do you think his attitude towards the faith was?
Oh, I don't know. Can't think.
I remember there being times when Basil and you were here and some of the sons and the family, and there was some family crisis. And I remember Basil saying, "Let's all say some prayers." And he would grab a Baha'i prayer book and he'd sit down and he would get us to say prayers together. And he would say a Baha'i prayer.
Dear old Basil.
Maybe it was that discipline of growing up Catholic and the regularity of his, when he was young, of him expressing his religious ideas, I guess. So, I guess in hard times he was still falling back on that spirituality and certainly encouraging us. So, you decided to become a Baha'i. How did your 4 sons react to that? Do you remember?
I don't really remember. I didn't try to persuade you to be Baha'is, except I took Derek to a Baha'i meeting, and he joined the faith when he was 17. He joined the faith, and Vaughan was quite against it. But then when Vaughan travelled overseas and saw there were other religions besides Christianity, I mean, he saw there was Buddhism and Islam and so on, he began to be more interested in the faith. And when he got to Singapore, he went to the Baha'i Centre and he heard a talk by a man, I think, from Alaska. And this talk was very persuasive, and Vaughan became very interested. And by the time he got up to Thailand, he went to the Baha'i Centre and said, "I want to join you. I want to be a Baha'i." He was wearing shorts and he had a beard, which they don't do and don't have in Thailand. And they don't wear shorts. So he was sent back to Malaysia to learn more about the faith.
And how old would he have been?
Oh, about 19. He was about 23 or so.
So he'd finished university in New Zealand and set off to travel the world and became Baha'i. And what's happened to him?
He decided to stay in Thailand and pioneer there.
So how long? How many years has he been there?
Oh, great many years, since 19. 73 or about 73 or 74, 73 I think.
That's 40 years.
Yes.
And of course his
He
wife...
lived in Thai. He married a Thai and had 2 Thai children.
And you mentioned your second son, Derek, had been to a Baha'i meeting and
Yes.
also joined the faith.
Yes, that's right. He was a Baha'i.
And what happened?
And you 2 younger ones joined when you were overseas.
Oh, we succumbed.
You succumbed when you were staying with Vaughan in Thailand.
Yes, I remember you saying many times to your sons, get an education, go to university, then travel the world. And why did you encourage your sons to do that?
Oh,
What was your
to
philosophy?
get a wider view of things. Once you travel the world, you can look back at New Zealand and see it more clearly. Yes, I wanted you to travel.
Yes, and I suppose actually Justin, the 2 younger sons, Justin and myself, had a similar process. We finished university, travelled the world, started thinking about religion. I'm speaking for myself maybe more, and yes, I also eventually became a Baha'i when I was 21 or 22, and Justin I also, I think, when he was travelling overseas.
Yes. He went right to the World Centre, to Haifa, before he declared his faith.
I happened to be in Thailand at the time I declared, but I had been getting spiritually ready for that, I guess, for quite a while. So you mentioned Vaughan's in Thailand. Derek is living where now?
Papua New Guinea, Port Moresby, he lives.
And how many years has he been there?
Oh, since the early 1940s, I think. Well, no, it wouldn't be 40s, would it? No.
Yes.
60s? I don't know.
He's been there well over 30 years, I think, with his Samoan wife, Tulua.
Yes.
And Justin's travelled the world and is now living back in New Zealand. I guess myself as well.
Yeah.
And during those early years, you joined the faith in Whangarei. You mentioned there was already a local assembly when you became a Baha'i.
Yes.
Can you describe a bit more of your involvement over the next few years with the faith?
Well, and I think I was elected at the next meeting, next time they had an election. I was elected onto the Baha'i Assembly, in that local assembly. So that was in the early 1970s.
Yes, early 1970s. Do you remember how long you were on the assembly?
About 9 years, I think. And I was a secretary for about 4 years, probably. And then in 1979, Basil retired, and you see that he didn't want me to be a secretary. You know, he didn't want me taking up my time there. So I told the friends, and so I resigned from being secretary. I stayed in the faith, of course. Wouldn't leave the faith.
Being the secretary of the assembly must have taken a great deal of your time.
Yes, it did, yes.
I suppose that, and looking after your children, although they were all teenagers at that stage.
Oh, they'd all gone. You left university in 1979, I think.
That's right.
Yes. You went overseas then, didn't you?
Yes, 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 certainly.